Before we're born and up in age as we're human ego and spiritual enlightenment, what are some of the differences, and how this also applies to mediumship and paranormal activity and hauntings? Please know anything that I teach that you do not resonate with nor believe in, etc. Please just keep in mind if the need ever arises and you feel you need to re-look into what you do not believe in. Then by keeping it in the back of the mind helps when these times of surfacing happen. And when it does resonates with you, then you can re-look into it. So that's why I always say, you do not have to believe or act on. Just store it in your memory. Your guides will remind you of what you forgot about and when to re-look into then. For these reasons, it is for then. Like in case, it comes in handy for future reference for you or your loved one or your client. No, you do not need to practice beliefs you do not believe in to pass this course to get your certification. Just please learn the info to be aware of, and if the need arises to dive into it, you will then further research into, etc. 3. Just a helpful tip to try and be aware of too. When a door opens with new knowledge, sometimes those we kept closed, go with the new. Then we are reminded of something we once didn't believe in can sometimes come true for us, or is still just helpful for our clients or loved ones' beliefs. Feeling connected with each other really helps open our hearts and helps with our service works. Human ego. We step into our ego later in life and are the residual of spiritual enlightenment, meaning we have chosen one side over the other to become to learn and practice with. We are unbalancing ourselves when we are too much of one or the other. However, over time as we age and depending on our bringing up and what we encounter, etc., helps shape us up and brings out our human ego ways. As children, it is in most cases, if given the opportunity to live in a way where you can be in your spiritual enlightenment and not force so quickly into human ego. Just as with everything, this is a positive and a negative side with human ego. Sometimes that can be our friend. Sometimes that can save us from danger by heightening our human ego to not participate in something we dislike, to find out later that we left a dangerous situation. So please know, both have their ups and downs, just as everything does too. Spiritual enlightenment. We are usually born and still in a trance-like state from being in the realm that we came from to cross over into this lifetime in a human being's body. Our soul just came from the realm we resided at, as we were working on our ascension there. However, we are energy, and it is still fresh from there, and during our life, after the human ego has been activated, we are trying to find our way back to spiritual enlightenment, and some are ready to cross back over, to work on their ascension. Spiritual enlightenment is a form of ascension, but while in a human body to work on enlightening oneself with maybe peace or oneness, etc., when in the human body, it is tough working on spiritual enlightenment and ascension. Because we naturally gravitate back towards human ego and feel it's practical, which then can turn some people away from this and feel comforted back in their ego due to the practicality of it and can be a back and forth battle of what to choose. But over time, it becomes natural. And we see the benefits and many other reasons as to why it is now a better fit for our life, re-tapping back into our spiritual enlightenment and ascending. So depending on where we are at in our life, we might be more human ego or more spiritual enlightenment. However, finding the balance to be both is very beneficial, so it is not leaning too much on one side over the other and triggering the opposite to be attracted over what we intend to attract. When we start to attract the opposite is when we know to balance it. But also we shouldn't worry either if we are balanced or not, as that too can unbalance us. Live as we're guided by our intuition, but also be mindful when we need to balance an aspect out. If the guidance reveals we should, we are also in this lifetime having a human being experience. So balancing out our human ego and spiritual enlightenment while living a human being, life is a fun juggle. Can be done? Should it be done? Yes. We don't want to miss out on the array of choices given to us by limiting our beliefs to what we think it should or shouldn't be. So knowing there is a difference between human ego and spiritual enlightenment and being mindful of what we can do with the two helps us with mediumship by helping us see when we are working with our clients or loved ones, where we are each at and what we can do to help. paranormal activity, or hauntings. With mediumship, the paranormal love to play on our human egos. That's what mine did. With me growing up, and not just me, but others too, they were amplified by these evil beings. That was fuel for their fire, getting me to daydream or be in human ego situations and choices. They also created scenarios with the people around me, including loved ones who lived in the ego, by influencing them and kicking up their human ego to spew out on me LOOOOL. Okay, thought I'd add a joke like The Exorcist when she spewed out. But instead, I'm using it as words being spewed out by the beings' influences by them creating the scenarios. So their hurtful words are being spewed out by the beings. I know, probably very corny. I apologize. I do love humor. An example of paranormal activity. Haunting with mediumship for ourselves or our clients, Joe and Sue are newlyweds, and they just moved recently into this apartment together. Life before this place was going perfectly for them. But now, they want to chew each other's heads off and can't stand the sight of each other. They too are confused as to why so much anger and hate and why they can't be around each other. They just got married, a love at first sight thing, and were truly happy. Well, the medium digs into the case to read into this male spirit there that has an attachment to him, which is triggering and influencing him to lash out on the couple by influencing the couple to lash out on each other. With these sudden bursts of anger and rage and pure evil and darkness, the husband, Joe, confesses and begs and pleads to help ASAP because he has a few times now seen visions of stabbing Sue, and he does not know where this is coming from, and tells the medium he has been evaluated and is not bipolar or any other thing that could explain the visions or moods. Same with Sue, so they are desperate and know this is an outside influence, this is not seeking for mental health help, which is spiritual like bipolar is empaths, etc. They're going through what's called a spiritual emergence, empaths and bipolar, so the medium tells them her findings and removes the being attached to the male spirit, then crosses over the male spirit apologizes, and the medium lets the couple know. Along with other cleansing steps, the medium does too, and also instructs the couple on some things they can do to help prevent and protect their sacred love. A few weeks later, the medium calls to check back up and finds out everything is going smooth again, but are getting help in different ways, like energy healing and a spiritual coach, working with their spiritual enlightenment and a counselor for extra measures, to be sure as many ways that can work to help get them back on track, because they know the worth of their love. Joe is more comfortable with the counselor and Sue is with spiritual enlightenment and coaching. So they came to a compromise to have both, so both is their comfort, one for the other and vice versa. To explain further, is that as you can see, this being attached to the male spirit was interfering with this couple's relationship, their life. And the couple beforehand had their differences, which they still do. Like the male is more traditional and the female is more non-traditional in this story. So the being took advantage of their differences and amped up their human ego. Along with the energies of anger and hate, etc., is felt by the couple, which also is another way of triggering their fights. Now that they had the medium go out there, they will be able to be aware and detect and prevent and protect against this in the future. If not, they were taught the tools and will contact the same medium or ones they want to work with this time. Usually, our guides guide us to who we resonate with at those moments, for who we will contact.